Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of the Hogwarts Legacy playthrough. After acquiring our own custom broom, we headed over to our homie Sebastian in the Dark Arts Tower to debrief on our night in the restricted section. He also introduced me to a secret area in Hogwarts known as the Undercroft.
We can talk more in a moment, in the Undercroft. Not even the professors know about this place.
The Undercroft was one of the cooler places in the game, as it was only known by a few select amount of people where it was, and only fewer people could actually get into it.
How did you find this place?
My friend, Ominous Gaunt. Revelio at the Undercroft. We used to play gobstones here all the time. With my sister, Anne.
Within the Undercroft is where we end up learning another spell, the Blasting Charm Confringo, and this is a really good spell to use in combat as well, as it is a long-ranged attack and deals a ton of damage to deal with those pesky ranged enemies.
That's it! I think I've got it.
Well done.
After learning Confringo, we met up with Professor Weasley, who introduced us to the Room of Requirement, which was a super useful room throughout the entire game where you could brew your own potions, grow your own plants, and countless other things. This is also where we learned our first of 4 Room of Requirement spells, and these spells were used solely just in the Room of Requirement, and this spell, Evanesco, was used to vanish certain items, so if your room was getting cluttered by certain items like these chairs here, you could use the spell to just simply remove them.
Cast Evanesco on those chairs. Excellent work.
After exploring the rest of the Room of Requirement, we met Professor Weasley's house elf, Deke, who would also be assisting us in restoring the Room of Requirement, and this is where we actually saw what the Room of Requirement was going to look like throughout the course of the game. The Room of Requirement was fully customizable and unlocked a lot of new mechanics and things to do in the game, like this desk of description that would identify missing items that you were finding out in the open world, and we actually ended up getting a pretty nice cool drip piece here for Buster. This was where we learned our second Room of Requirement exclusive spell, and that was the Conjuring spell, and this was definitely the most used one in the entire Room of Requirement, as this spell allowed you to summon quite literally anything. You could summon furniture, you could summon potting tables, potion stations. That was pretty much one of the only spells you used when it came to setting up your Room of Requirement.
Dick thinks you should be proud of all the potions you've brewed.
The next spell that we ended up learning in the Room of Requirement was the Altering spell, and this was also super useful when setting up your Room of Requirement because it was a bit glitchy at times trying to set down certain items in certain places, especially if you have OCD like myself, and the Altering spell allowed you to pick up things that were misplaced and relocate them. After finishing the setup of our Room of Requirement, we brought Professor Fig down to the map chamber that we had discovered earlier, and he was able to have a conversation with Percival Rackman. We also found out down in the map chamber that we would have to complete 4 trials, and this would end up being the bulk of the story of the game, as in these trials we were going through Ranrock's defenses, weakening him, and setting him up to eventually be defeated.
The trials were designed to ensure that the power and knowledge we have kept secret for so long does not fall into the wrong hands. They will test your abilities, both innate and learned. But of equal importance, everything you witness as you complete the trials will inform what you choose to do with all that we share.
We had finally made it to the location of the first trial, but unfortunately had been taken over by goblins, so Professor Fig and Buster had to go through and stealthily take out most of the enemies.
There must be something here. Ramrock strips to tell us. I deserve better than Patrol. Why is a grapple? What was that?
Accio! Expelliarmus!
We had finally made it to the location of our first trial, and these were definitely some of the coolest missions in the game, as it had us use ancient magic to travel to areas that we normally couldn't. The trials also were a great location for some of the best loot in the game. I swear to God, every single chest that I would open downstairs in some of these trial areas were some of the best equipment that I ended up using for most of the story. And just in general, these areas were some of the coolest areas in the game, like this bridge that slowly descended as you went across it. And of course, it wouldn't be a secret vault in Hogwarts Legacy without some pensive guardians protecting it, so I want you to once more sit back, relax, and watch Buster work.
Stupid one. Confringo. Stupid one. Stupid one. Accio. Levioso. Expelliarmus. Confringo. Confringo. Expelliarmus. Accio.
The trials did a great job in breaking up the gameplay between combat and puzzles like this. In this situation, you had to use the platforms around you and the spell Accio to traverse to the next area of the trial. The first trial also absolutely wastes no time whatsoever when it comes to ramping up the overall difficulty of the game. You're used to fighting just small pensive guardians at first, but this trial introduced fighting 2 of the pensive protectors at once, and it makes for a pretty intense but very fun fight.
Confringo. Expelliarmus. Confringo. Expelliarmus. Confringo. Expelliarmus. Expelliarmus. Confringo. Not making this easy on me.
We had finally made it to the end of the first trial when we stumbled upon a chest with 5 Wiggenweld potions in it for some reason, and an awfully familiar location to that of a boss fight, and you would have guessed correctly. We got jumped by a few pensive protectors, but nobody prepared us for what the true boss fight really was. We had finally found the true pensive guardian. This guy was absolutely insane, tons of AoE attacks, and a one ball attack that you see here that I was struggling a little bit at the beginning to figure out how to dodge, but it's simple, just like the poachers that you have to take out in the game. Once he casts his ball, you just need to cast a spell of the same color, and it will end up stunning him. I also didn't have many spells at this point in the story. I really only had Expelliarmus and Confringo that were real damage dealers in this fight, so the fight ended up being a little bit repetitive, but without a doubt it was one of the coolest cinematic moments in the game so far. This was one of the nasty combos I ended up hitting on him in this fight. I was able to strike him with some ancient magic and then hit him with both of my damage dealing spells, so it ended up racking over 900 to 1000 damage in about 5 seconds. The fight actually ended up getting pretty close near the end here, as he almost killed me. I was completely out of the 5 Wiggenwelds that they give you at the beginning, but overall a super cool fight and a great start to the game. Upon defeating the pensive guardian, we finally made it to the end of the first trial, and at the end of each trial you actually are able to get a glimpse into some of the older Hogwarts professors' memories, and this was Percival Rickman's trial, so you got a glimpse into some of his memories with Imelda, which was another 5th year student like ourselves that could use ancient magic as transfiguration. The story for this game has been amazing so far, and it was super cool how Avalanche Games did this, as they used Hogwarts as the setting really, and not more so trying to make it a carbon copy of the movie. It was super cool, and I'm super excited to see what they do with the rest of the story. If you made it to the end of today's video, I just wanted to take some time here to say thank you. At the time of recording this video, we are currently 10 subs away from 100 subscribers, so if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. There's plenty of Hogwarts Legacy content still coming here to the channel, so make sure that you turn notifications on so you never miss a single upload. We will also be finishing the Dead Space story here pretty soon, so expect a summary video of that story and all the amazing things I experienced throughout the world of the Dead Space remake coming very soon as well. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night whenever you end up watching this, and make sure you tune in tomorrow, Saturday, March 18th, for the end of the Dead Space remake playthrough. Much love, and I will see you guys in the next one.